And now for our next news special report.
The world sits on the precipice, folks, with the shadow of World War III looming large. As Israel readies its troops for a potential ground invasion into Gaza, an unexpected pause has been signaled. This delay, for now, is pushed back what many fear could be the cataclysmic trigger to a global conflict. The Middle East is a powder keg, and the fuse just got a temporary reprieve. But what's the real reason behind this pause? As the region teeters on the brink, with the very fabric of global peace at stake, the implications for our republic are profound. Delve deep with us into the high-stakes geopolitical drama, and believe me, the final thought we have lined up for you is a perspective you don't want to miss. It could alter the way you see our world today. Now, before we dive deep, a quick analogy to ponder on. Just as Israel and the U.S. are preparing their strategies amidst tensions, many are looking for ways to strengthen their own strategies in life. And for hundreds of thousands, that strategy is weight management. A simple step like weighing oneself can keep goals front and center. Want an edge? Naturally sourced ingredients might just be the answer to give you that boost. And there's a limited time 51% off deal at trimwithgary.com right now. Now back to the story at hand. In the shifting sands of Middle Eastern politics, a significant development has occurred. Israel, historically resolute in its defiance and its defense tactics, has signaled a delay in its planned ground invasion into the Gaza Strip. But here is the twist. The military is also making moves in the region. Why? To safeguard American troops stationed there. So let's break this all down. Watch.
The US is hoping Israel will hold off on its ground offensive into Gaza to rescue hostages and allow America time to move military resources near the conflict zone. David Woiwod joins me live now from Tel Aviv. David, so many factors at play here. What's the feeling on the ground?
Eddie, good morning. Well, it is a complex calculation for Israel right now, although, as you've just pointed out, we understand that the United States has played a major role in persuading Israel now to delay that planned ground incursion. We have just heard from the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu this evening, and look, he was very forceful on this. He has said that that ground incursion will be happening, although he gave no timelines around that. He did though say that he would be giving consideration to those ongoing humanitarian efforts and of course those negotiations behind the scenes as well to free those hostages. Now, in the meantime, Israel has really stepped up its aerial bombardment of Gaza. In fact, we have been hearing many of those blasts here in Tel Aviv over the past 2 or 3 hours. And in addition to that, we've even seen some more Hamas rockets being fired at Tel Aviv as well. Now, that hasn't been happening over the past few days. This is an incredibly delicate situation, but it appears some good news for those trapped inside Gaza tonight with news of that planned delay of that ground incursion, Eddie.
Thank you, David. David Woiwod there live in Israel.
A report from the Wall Street Journal details this unexpected development. A ground assault on Hamas, a powerful player in the Palestinian territories, will be shelved temporarily. The reason? The U.S. Department of Defense is urgently deploying air defenses across the Middle East, specifically targeting places where American troops are currently posted. Now, that's not just 1 or 2 locations. We're talking about Iraq, Syria, Kuwait, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. But here is the pressing concern. There are growing fears that these American troops could be targeted with rocket and missile attacks from Islamist militants. It's no secret that tensions have been escalating and the current climate is volatile. Watch.
There's a lot of reasons why. Of course, we're looking north to see what Hezbollah is doing. They're very concerned that Hezbollah may weigh in and become part of the conflict, opening up a second front. The other thing is they have an initiative to try and get more intelligence on where the hostages are. They have a diplomatic initiative. So they're trying to find ways to get the hostages out before they go to major ground combat operations, whether diplomatic or maybe even doing special military operations. And then the other one is time to train, time to prepare, time to figure out what Hamas has in store for them. All of that, this is the delay actually does work from an operational and a tactical standpoint. And then the other side is also working with the information space. There's a lot of bad information floating around out there, and they're trying to kind of replace that with more accurate, fact-based information.
And the Pentagon isn't taking any chances. They're on a sprint to deploy at least a dozen of these air defense systems. That's right, a dozen. It shows the gravity of the threat they perceive. But while we're talking about confirmations, let's be clear, both Israeli and American military officials have confirmed the delay in Gaza's invasion. Yet, unsurprisingly, they've remained tight-lipped, with none of the officials willing to go on the record. So when could the ground assault on Hamas potentially kick off? Well, sources suggest by the end of this week. However, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister, seems undeterred by international pressures. In a recently televised address, Netanyahu made his intentions crystal clear. He emphasized that Israel's war cabinet would determine the incursion's timing. And his words were direct. We're in the middle of a war for our existence. He outlined two distinct goals: to annihilate Hamas by decimating its military and government's capabilities, and to ensure the safe return of Israeli hostages. Watch.
We are in the middle of a war for our existence. We have set two goals for the war: to annihilate Hamas by destroying its military and governance abilities, and to do everything possible to bring our hostages back home. We are raining hellfire on Hamas. We have already killed thousands of terrorists, and this is only the beginning. Simultaneously, we are preparing for a ground invasion. I will not elaborate on when or how many. I will also not elaborate on the various calculations we are making, which the public is mostly unaware of. And that is how things should be. I want to be clear, the timing of the military's operation, the timing is determined by consensus by the war cabinet. Together with the chief of staff and the cabinet, we are working to ensure the ideal conditions for our troops for the next operations. I call again on the non-involved population in Gaza to evacuate to the south of the Strip. Since the start of the war, we have formed 600 new groups of volunteer guards, also with weapons deliveries that we are bringing from abroad, and we will add more forces to this effort. We encourage citizens and are helping citizens carry personal arms for defense. We are doing so in a controlled manner. Citizens of Israel. October 7th was a black day in our history. We will fully investigate what happened along the southern border and in the areas surrounding Gaza. The scandal will be fully investigated. Everyone will have to give answers, me too. But all this will happen only after the war.
His message was unwavering. This is just the beginning. Israel's preparing for a ground invasion, but Netanyahu remained mum on the specifics. One call to action, though, was clear. He urged the non-involved population in Gaza to move to the Strip south. This call for evacuation hints at the intensity of the operations Israel might be contemplating. Additionally, a mention was made about events on October 7th, calling it a black day in Israel's history. An investigation into the incidents along the southern border and surrounding Gaza areas is on the cards, with Netanyahu himself acknowledging accountability. But it's not just about military strategy. Israel is also leveraging its hiatus to address humanitarian concerns. Reports suggest they're grappling with the logistical challenges of aiding Palestinian civilians. Another critical task? Negotiating the release of hostages taken captive during the recent October 7th Hamas terror attacks. These past 3 weeks have been a tumultuous period. Israel's been proactive in its response, launching targeted airstrikes against Hamas militants situated inside Gaza. But the conflict isn't unilateral. Israel has been on the receiving end, with bombings emanating both from Lebanon and Syria. In fact, these regions, along with others neighboring in Israel, have witnessed widespread protests by pro-Hamas activists. The underlying concern here is enormous. This isn't just about a localized conflict. The repercussions of Israel's actions in response to Hamas provocations could potentially spiral into a much broader, more significant confrontation. It could be a domino effect that nobody wants to witness. And speaking of broader implications, the Pentagon strategies aren't limited to air defense systems. Two U.S. carrier strike groups have been dispatched to the region. CNN shed light on this, indicating that these American forces serve as a deterrent. While the Biden administration has reiterated that U.S. troops won't directly aid Israel in combat, their presence speaks volumes. It's a power play, a clear message. and a strategic positioning all rolled into one. However, ambiguity still surrounds the exact number of Americans currently held hostage in Gaza. The White House, as of now, hasn't provided a concrete figure. It's a pressing concern, and one that underscores the intricate weave of politics, strategy, and humanitarian concerns in this ongoing conflict. So the Middle East stands at a crossroads with multiple global players watching closely. Every move, every decision, every delay carries weight, implications, and potential ripple effects far beyond regional boundaries. In this brief respite, we're not just seeing a delay in military action. We're witnessing a world momentarily holding its breath. This delay merely gives nations a moment to regroup, to reassess, and to prepare. But let's not be naive. The minute Israel initiates its ground invasion of Gaza, our world could change in the blink of an eye. We're looking at a scenario where regional conflicts could rapidly escalate into a global confrontation. This isn't fear-mongering. It's a call for vigilance and understanding. World War III isn't just a concept from a dystopian fiction. It's a potential reality that every decision, every action in the Middle East now edges us closer to. As citizens of this great republic, it's imperative we stay informed and engaged. For the stakes, they've never been higher. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.